Hey everybody! On this episode of Gaming Collecting, me and Alex are going to be jumping into the relaxing world of puzzle video games, including some of the old ones we played back on our old handheld systems, and later on mobile phones and other consoles. It is a fun conversation and a fun blast of the past. And anyways, guys, on with the show. How you been?
Minion.
You got a minion on a stick right there, I see.
I do. It's barely there anymore. I ate most of it. I'm a monster. It's fine.
They're not alive. They're just a waste of space anyways.
They're minions. They're minions.
They're punching bags of the internet. She's got a brain freeze.
I mean, I'm popsicle, by the way.
I think they understand that at this point.
Maybe they don't. Jesus. Miss Pooh has just she has one of those tubes that they run in and they go whoop, whoop, and she discovered hers this week. And she hasn't stopped discovering it. And every day I come home, it's in a new spot. I'm like, how did that get there? I don't know. But she runs through it. She's currently in it. Oh, no, she's not. I thought I saw her. She's standing near it, waiting for her next chance to run through it. But
so, I have another great Amazon story for the week.
Oh boy, what happened?
You know how when you buy a manga, usually it comes in a packaging that says "Do not bend."
Yeah, let me guess. They bent it
to fit it in my mailbox. They creased it in half.
A book?
Yep.
Did you send that a picture to Amazon?
They don't give a shit.
Bill, just send them a photo. They'll replace it if they see that.
It was a third-party seller, so.
Oh, see, that's why I don't buy them through the third party.
See, here's the problem, though. Sometimes you'll buy it thinking it's Amazon Prime, and then they'll just redirect it to a third-party seller, and they'll be like, sorry.
That sucks.
Yeah. So I have it pressed in between some volumes to flatten it. But yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks, Amazon.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just like I got it out of the mailbox. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it surprised me what they try and shove in the mailbox because, I got a clothes order from somewhere and I was expecting it to be in the bigger one, and then I was like, oh, I opened mine. I was like, Jesus! They literally shoved it in and ripped part of the bag it came in.
The worst I ever had was I had a box, I think it was a die-cast car, like a NASCAR die-cast, the exact size of my mailbox.
Oh,
they just shoved it in there. I'm like, great. How am I supposed to get it at? I had to go back to the house and get fucking spoons or a ruler and just kind of pry it out. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. It's I feel bad for them, but at the same time, I don't. Yeah. So anything fun happened to you?
This week, I'm not gonna lie, this week's been pretty shit. But, we're just gonna keep it. Oh, did I tell you? Oh, God. Her head is sticking out the two. Anyways, did I tell you my story about one of these drinks? I got these drinks from Costco.
The one that poo splattered all over the floor?
Yeah, that story. I did tell you. Well, I'll tell the podcast. I went upstairs for 5 minutes. I put this drink on my little side table next to my couch. I come back downstairs, and I go inside my couch, and I will go grab my drink, and I'm like, where the fuck is my drink? And I look on the ground. It's on the fucking ground. There's drink everywhere. This little shit knocked it over. So now she loses privileges. I can't leave anything out because she's a monster.
Welcome to the wonderful world of owning a cat.
Yeah. But the drinks are pretty good. They're not super sweet, which I like. They're sparkling waters by Chi Forest. This one is lychee fizzy. It's naturally flavored. Take that off the screen. It's 11.16 fluid ounces, 330 milliliters. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but then you started groaning, and then I was like, oh, I might as well read the facts. It's less than 1% juice. Its serving size is 1 can. It's 0 calories with 0 sugars. You can recycle it and get a little cash back in many of the places that do that. And one being CT. It gives me the hiccups. What else is interesting on here?
One being CT. You could just say Connecticut.
No, I read exactly off the can. Its total fat 0 grams, has 15 milligrams of sodium, 5 grams of carbs, 0 sugars, and 5 grams of and potassium. Hey, you turn this shit off. This is very important. What else can I read on here? It's naturally flavored. It's distributed by. Just turn that fucking music off. Turn it off. I'm reading more out of spite now. It's best before the printed date on the package. That was all. I think you should get me like some nice like funner music, like.
Oh, okay. Here's my solution. Anytime you start reading the labels, I'm just gonna have the Buck Bumble music start playing.
No, anything but that.
I will.
You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna waste your time doing that.
I will ruin it for you.
No, you better not. You won't waste your time. I don't believe you. You're all bluff. You're gonna forget.
Yeah. This week has been one of those weeks where we're going into our company shutdown next week, so it's like.
Oh, you are doing that.
Yeah, and the power's going to be out on Monday, so we're all getting screwed out of a day of work. That's fun. The whole thing's a mess, but they're going to
But you have something fun this weekend.
We do. We're going to Retro World this weekend. By the time this episode comes out, Retro World will already be over, but that's besides the point.
Yes.
We're gonna meet up with Schnickerman, so that'd be fun to see
find
him.
Some water bottles.
You're gonna attempt to.
I bet I'll find more than 5.
Lovely. And I'm going to probably spend too much money on video games again.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you have a problem. She's rolling in the tube right now.
Good. Yeah.
So shut down. So you'll have Monday off. At least you'll be able to recover from the fun weekend.
Yeah, that'll be it. I mean, it's nice, but it's gonna suck not getting paid for Monday, especially coming off.
Oh, that sucks.
Unless I want to use a vacation day, which I don't really want to do.
That sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know. I'm taking the Monday after. Well, I'm taking the Monday before the long. Well, I'm assuming you guys have the full week off. But I'm taking that. The Friday, next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday off because I'm getting.
We don't have the whole week off. We have to work the entire week. Like,
well, yeah.
It's a shutdown, but we're technically still working. So.
Yeah, well, it's a shutdown for everyone but you. Just you. Bill's going to be the only person in the building. He's going to be doing all the work. He's going to be sweeping the floors, painting the ceilings, doing the Spider-Man crawl on the floor, not the ceiling, because he's not.
Literally, if I was the only person in the building,
Roachman. I feel like you wouldn't be Spider-Man. I feel like you'd be Roachman.
Did I tell the story about Pass the Roach on the podcast?
No, I'm frightened.
So this happened a while back. We found a dead cockroach.
No, I'm sorry. She's in her tube, and the hole, there's like a hole on the side of it. She's standing up in it, and she leans over, and she just face planted onto the floor.
Of course
she went face first. This is so distracting. I'm so sorry.
Your cat's very dumb.
Wait, can you hold up? Let's see if you can see. I know the viewers can't see, but do you see the tube?
No, I see your computer screen.
Wait, see that?
No. It's too dark. It's too dark.
I tried.
No, but we were at we found a dead cockroach when we were cleaning up. So we rather than dispose of it like a normal person, we decided to play hide the roach, and we would hide it on people's desks and see how long until they discovered it. And it sat on one of my coworkers' desks for most of the day.
Oh my goodness. Did I tell you about what my intern did as a final prank to one of the guys in the engineering office?
No.
So she'd been pranking him the whole time, and she got really creative. Like her first big one was that she made these silly wanted posters of him, and she made it like him as a cowboy and gave him a mustache, and then put wanted $2, reward $2. And then she put him up around the ME office, and it took like half the day for him to notice. And it also took us putting it like on his computer screen for him to notice. And then after that, she did a bunch of other smaller ones, but then like to go out with a bang for her internship, she decorated his desk with caution tape and then put like someone stole his scissors, so she made like a reward poster, like a missing poster. And then she got socks with his face on them and wore them for the day. And he didn't notice until she had to pretend to limp and have her be like, "Oh, I think my ankle sprained. Can you take a look?" for him to notice. But the last one and best one was he bikes every day to work. So I helped her on this. So we went and we decorated his bike and made it princess style. So we got him like the little bike tassels, a little bike basket, a little bell, some lights for his wheels. We put a bunch of ribbon on it. We got him a princess crown, and then we got him a pink license plate that said Princess Jason. Oh wait, Princess Jason Derulo. It's fine. Many people are named Jason. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was so funny, and we're doing it, and like he parks it by the tool room, so all the guys in the tool room are just like looking over and just start dying when they see it happening because they're like, "Oh, this is great! Like messing with Jason is the best."
Did he? What was his reaction to this?
So the best part is we finish doing it and we start walking back, and then we see him coming towards us, and we go, "Shit, we gotta make sure like he's gonna go see it." So we run into the nearest conference room, which is right down. We pass him and walk into the conference room, or like he passes us. He almost stops. He looks at us, but then just walks away. And then after he walks away, we quickly run out the conference room behind him, and then just sneak up on him to see his reaction. And then we just see him stop and just go, "My bike." And all the guys in the tool room just start dying. And like he's like, "What did you do to my bike?" And then we're like, "We made it pretty."
Yeah, I'm sure that went well.
Oh, it went.
Did he at least ride it home like that?
No, we tried to get him to do a lap in the park. We did get him to put the helmet on with the princess crown, which was great. We got a photo of that, but no, he wouldn't ride it around in the parking lot. Which where I work, I wouldn't blame him for not going outside on that, just because it's not the safest place to live. Working is fine, but not, I wouldn't live there. We'll just go with that. But yeah, it was great. It was just the perfect timing of like we leave, he starts coming down, and we just see the reaction in real time. I'll send you a picture after. It was so funny. Or maybe I'll post one in the server when this episode comes out.
You should have blurred his face out.
No, he's not in. I'll just put the picture of the bike. Yeah. I won't post the one of his face. Yeah.
Lovely.
That would be rude. But oh my god, it was so funny, and so many people were in on it. Ugh.
See, that doesn't happen at where I work, because everyone at where I work is fucking miserable.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Would you like a minion popsicle?
No, not right now.
You can pick one up from my place. We could do a little podcast break. I could tell people my dad jokes.
No.
I don't have the book anymore, but I can go grab it for you. I know you missed it.
We should bring up the news that came out yesterday.
What news?
Jujutsu Kaisen's ending in 5 chapters.
Oh yeah, it's crazy because like they were talking about like the new big 3, which was being like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero
My Hero,
Academia,
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, and like Black Clover. Well, Demon Slayer, I believe, was already finished before the series. I don't know. I can't remember, but that one's
Well,
been finished for a while.
they were well. The thing about Black Clover was it was never really one of the big three. It was always like the weird like extra one.
Yeah,
It's
but
funny though.
then,
Like,
well, oh, you go first, and I'll say it.
but I was just gonna say like it's weird how like it's weird because we're older, so we were around during like the original like big three, which was Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece.
Yes,
All of which are
and
still
One
going.
Piece still going strong.
I mean, One Piece is still going. Naruto has a sequel series, and I don't know what's going on with Bleach. The anime is still going. I know that.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh well, I saw some funny memes of like we have our new big three, and it was One Piece live action, regular one like the regular One Piece, and then the One Piece remake, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, big three!"
it's just funny though, because like the new generation of anime fans and manga fans, it's like it's just weird how like
I
these new
just
series are over already.
well, I just wonder if like we're ever gonna have something like One Piece. I feel like it just won't happen anymore. I don't know. Like it just I don't see it happening.
Well,
Cause like
it's it.
from everything I've seen, like My Hero Academia, it ended on a pretty. It ended where it should have ended. Did I like the ending? I don't. I don't know. I haven't fully read it, but I've seen like spoilers and stuff, and I'm like, they probably could have done something better. My Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm not as caught up on, so I haven't gotten there. But I mean, even Attack on Titan. Oh, I finally finished that.
I noticed in the server.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was talking to because I was getting yelled at for not putting it on my top 20. I didn't finish it at the time. I couldn't rank it. Um, but I don't know. I will say I don't know how I felt about the ending. Let's go with that. I don't
Mm.
know how I felt. I'm still like thinking about it to this day. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I finally finished that too. I don't know. I don't
It
think we'll ever have like those. We'll never have a series like One Piece again where it went on forever. Like I just don't
yeah.
think we will.
But I mean, even like Naruto felt like it went on forever, and then like Bleach felt. I mean, Bleach it feels like an eternity
Well, because
sometimes.
there's Naruto Shippuden.
Well,
Ow! Sorry, I was just attacked.
the manga is like Shippuden didn't really happen. It just kind of kept going as Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now there's Baruto, so it still kind of feels like it's going on.
Baruto, stinky little Baruto. What was that?
What?
I heard something. The sound of a drink opening.
My hands are literally empty.
Oh, I don't know what I heard. Then I thought
Um,
maybe I'm losing my mind. Oh goodness! Hello there. Now she wants to be friends. She's letting me pet her.
yeah, it's just weird though. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, like from what I've seen online, because I haven't read it. I'm anime only on that. But
Mm-hmm.
the discourse I've seen online, it seems like most people are like they're like concerned because like the story isn't even close to being finished.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a weird vibe I'm getting from everybody listening, and I'm just like all the responses to it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to start getting caught up on it again. It's been kind of on my list of ones I need to catch up on, but yeah, I don't know.
Even some of like the lesser known shonens, like Kaguya-sama, that's over now.
Yeah.
Um, Apparently Oshinoko is like close to being done too.
Really? I think it's just kind of a trend. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna have like a One Piece again.
I don't think Oshinoko was supposed to be a long story. I think it was supposed to be what it was. Honestly, I feel like that story is already like kind of finished, and now he's just kind of dragging it out at this point.
He's stretching it.
Well, I think it's like he's stretching it out for the artist because
Yeah.
I think the artist is more into it than he is at this point.
Uh,
Um,
that's a struggle. I guess that's the struggle of having someone else draw your work for you.
well, it's funny because he has a third series that's not even out over here yet,
Mhm.
and that's already done. Like,
Really?
it's bizarre.
I don't know. I feel like some authors just they prefer like a nice short story. And I feel like not everything needs to be super long. Like I don't think everything has to be. There's definitely some One Piece episodes like it didn't need long probably. It probably could have been shortened, but you know, they either needed to stretch it due to like time. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of series like they don't. There's not as much filler anymore either. Like I don't know.
Well, they don't really. So it's interesting. Like filler isn't really a thing anymore because now they just like they wait for series to either be finished before they do animes, or they strategically will release like seasons like to not have massive amounts of filler.
Yeah.
I think the current shonen that's still going on strong right now is Spy Family.
Yeah. And welcome to Demon School of Rumakun.
Is that a shonen though?
I believe so. Is like Shonen Jump or
Well, I don't know because I'm used to like Viz has like all the shonens and that's like that's I don't know. I always get confused when it's not because it's not on the Shonen Jump app. I know that.
I'm gonna ask. Is it shonen or isekai?
I don't think it's technically isekai because
No, I don't think so either.
he's not a real person. He's a in the universe character.
So people are saying it's a shonen, but it has isekai elements.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Sure.
because no, I mean he was in the human world and he got sold, and he gets transported to the demon world. So kind of.
Yeah, I
But
guess.
it's a shonen at this point.
Okay, I guess it's more just like I don't associate it, so to associate it with the traditional shonens because it's not a Shonen Jump thing.
Yes. How many chapters? That's what I gotta know now. Because we have quite a few volumes at this point. Oh wow!
9.
Oh, because like these are all the Japanese covers too.
Oh yeah, that
'Cause
one's
there's
kind of
so much.
behind.
Oh yeah, because whoa, damn! There's like there's 39 volumes out in Japan.
Damn, it did come out late.
Yeah, and that came out in September, volume 39. And
Well,
that
you'll be
has
collecting that one for a while.
Oh yeah, 340 chapters. So, and chapters that are not out that are and there's currently 360 in total right now that are not yet in like the book format.
I'm just curious what the next generation of series is going to be.
It's Welcome to Demon School. No.
No, that's already old by this point.
What? No, the manga first came out.
It has 30 volumes. It's kind of old now.
It came out in 2017. Oh, I guess you're right.
That's old. That's almost 10 years ago.
Oh my god, the website is having. Oh my god, it's just scrolling on its own. Ugh, stop. Oh my god, it's just scrolling on its own.
Well, we could talk about manga for an entire episode. So let's move on to our topic for this episode.
What? We have a topic?
This joke isn't funny. Move on.
No. Oh my god, there's a volume of the Ruma's grandpa on the cover. Oh my god. Sorry. Grandpa.
Well, anyways, we're talking about video games again, guys, because this is the gaming collecting podcast after all.
Huh?
So we're actually kind of
the Weeben and Schweben podcast.
Yeah, it is sometimes, but
Weeben and Schweben.
We're actually kind of doing a throwback to some of our some of our season 2 style episodes where we're going to be covering a genre of games. We haven't done that in a while. Like we've been kind of experimenting more lately.
We've been vibing.
But
meme.
I thought it'd be interesting because we haven't actually covered these, and these were a very big part of Alex's and my gaming childhood. Puzzle games. Now, I think everybody has played I'm always been under the impression that like everybody has their one puzzle game that it's just kind of like their puzzle game that they just love, like for no reason. But like there's other puzzle games that we can all enjoy as well. Like I guess to start off, for me, I've said it before, like in other podcasts and episodes, that my favorite puzzle game of all time is Clax. And that is partially because of nostalgia. It was my first video game I ever played and owned. I got it on the Game Boy Color Christmas morning that one year. I had a choice between that or Mario Deluxe, and I chose Clax.
Yep.
And
you never looked back.
It's since become one of my like I need to kill a couple minutes kind of games. Like Clax is such a simple puzzler. It is literally a a board of like it's like a conveyor belt of like these falling tiles,
Yeah.
and you have to catch them with this little catcher at the bottom of the screen. And basically, you've got to line up pairs of three, and you could either do it vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And you have to get like certain colors give certain points, and like you get bonuses for getting color chains and stuff. It's a very simple yet fun puzzle
Whew.
game.
It does look fun.
It's a little slow at times. You can speed it up by like launching the stuff down the conveyor belt quicker, but I've been playing that one pretty much forever, like the Game Boy Color game I started with, and then I've pretty much every console version that's released except for I think I'm missing like the 7800 version.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fun little game. There's a quote unquote a clone of it on mobile phones that I discovered recently called what's it
Snacks.
called? No, it's called Cosmos Stack.
Oh,
It's the same game. It's like one of those like
basically just clacks.
yeah, it's a clone of it, but it's like the same idea because Clax is currently owned by we don't really know. It was made by Atari, and that version of Atari was absorbed into Midway Games, and then Midway doesn't exist anymore. So we don't really know who owns Clax anymore. But
Huh.
yeah, it's a fun one. What would you say your first puzzle game was, Alex?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if I remember playing any as like a kid on I couldn't tell you. I feel like it was Bejeweled or no, it was Mahjong on the computer then. It had to be that cuz there was on the old Windows version they had the games corner which we talked about
Mm-hmm. Purple Place.
with yes. Let me see if I can find it. And I remember I would freaking love to play Mahjong. I'd play it all the time. It was my shit. It still is my shit. I want to like learn how to actually play like the actual with the like physical tiles. I feel like that would be fun. But I loved Mahjong. I would say that was my first deep dive into puzzle games because I would literally play that. I would have anime on and I would just be playing Mahjong at the same time.
It's a very mind stimulating game because you're just matching the puzzles, the blocks essentially.
It is, and I love a good match. I can't. I'm having a stroke. Anyways, matching game. I wonder if I can still play that. I wonder if they still have it.
I don't know. All I know is there's like 1,000 different versions of Mahjong now that you can get. Like there's the Triple Threat series, Shanghai Triple Threat, great 3DO game.
You guys talked about Mahjong without me. I'm still mad about it.
To be fair, we spent more time talking about fucking Hamburger Helper on that episode than the actual game.
Maybe I wanted to talk about. Remember, there was Hamburger Helper, and then there was like Tuna Helper. Do you remember Tuna Helper?
I'm pretty sure we discussed this on the episode.
Well, you didn't discuss it with me, so now you gotta talk about it. Bill, do you remember the Tuna Helper?
You can message Aaron on the Superpod network about it. Just ask him about Hamburger Helper.
I don't want to. No, I'm looking at Tuna Helper. I want the tuna. No, I didn't want that. I didn't want that.
It's funny though because there's like 12 different mahjongs that you can get on Steam or like the Switch store, and there's sexy mahjong. There's always a sexy variant.
Yeah, there's always
with anime girls.
Now I kind of want Hamburger Helper. Is that
Lovely.
gross? Is that weird? Like I want it for the nostalgia factor. You want to make some this weekend?
I don't know.
We're making We'll make some and we'll put a tutorial out there for everyone. You're welcome. We're gonna make a Hamburger Helper this weekend.
So, you had mentioned too that you played a lot of Bejeweled.
Yes, I did play quite a bit of Bejeweled. Well, because I had an app on my phone, and I would play it. Like that was before I would have like certain ones that I would play, and I would play them for years. I feel like this was one of the ones I got like when I first got an iPod Touch. Like not even iPhone yet. We had iPod Touches. And this was one of the games I spent money to download, and I would play it whenever I had spare time, I would always play Bejeweled because it was just like, switch the pieces, make them into a lines of jewels, and so that the jewels would all match. It was like a line of three, or potentially it just had to be more than two. Had to
Mm.
have more than two, so you could basically maneuver them around as best as you could, just getting as much points until like you can't match anything on the screen.
See, Bejeweled was always I always found it amusing because like you could go to like a Walmart and you could find like those like cheap PC games on the shelf, and there'd always be like Bejeweled on PC, but then at the same time you could just get it on your phone for free.
Yeah. Or spend
Uh,
money if you're stupid like me when I was younger. But that was when there wasn't as many free apps, and it was more of like you paid for all those shitty apps. Like there was one that was like it was like milk, and it would just like it was an
oh,
app that was just
the
like
beer
you would drink milk. And yeah, drink beer, like all those stupid apps
the
that like
beer app. I fucking love the beer app because it
yeah,
was so
you had
fucking
to pay
dumb.
money for those. Like that
Yeah,
is
and then
the
years later,
robbed. You are
and then
robbed.
yeah, and then years later they released it for free.
Mm.
It was just like a fuck you. Um, So another puzzle game that's very iconic, and I bring this one up because I this one I have over like 4,000 hours on my 3DS. Dr. Mario.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Tetris.
No, we're saving that one for last because that one is
Oh, okay.
that's the
Let
big
me
one.
move it. Let me move it to the end then. Doctor. Well, I
So
knew you had Tetris on. Anyways,
well,
Doctor
Tetris is on there.
Mario.
So
I always
Doc,
remember that Doctor Mario song.
oh, the parental floss song.
Yes, I
I
don't know
haven't thought
why.
about I haven't thought about parental floss in years.
I haven't either, but as soon as I saw Doctor Mario, that's all I could think of.
Yeah, I am Dr. Mario and I am saving lives. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
we can put that on the on the server for other people to experience.
Dr. Mario is an interesting one though, because there's two variations of it now. Like the version I have is the Miracle Cure version, which you can't get anymore because no more 3DS store, womp womp. But this is like my gym game, like workout game, like when I'm on like the exercise bike.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just so addicting. Like it's such an interesting puzzle game. Like you throw pills down. It's a drop down puzzler, and you have to match up the reds, the yellows, and the blues. And I think you need to get like you have to get a chain of three, and it will eliminate all of the pills. And you want to have the pills lined up with the viruses on the screen to kill the viruses. Um, it's a very intense kind of game. You don't want the screen to overfill, or else
Oh,
you
it's one of
die.
those puzzle. See, for me, I feel like I don't like puzzle games like this as much because I like to relax with puzzle games. I don't like to feel anxious. And games like this make me feel anxious.
See, for me, I enjoy the brain stimulation. Like it's really good when you're like on when you're on like say an exercise bike because it keeps your brain kind of like focused on something and you don't pay attention to like the time or other things and you can just kind of focus on your workout. They've also added a different variation of it now called Dr. Luigi, where rather than just singular pills, you have double stack pills in like L shapes for
Oh.
Luigi. Um, and it changes the entire meta of like the game because now you have these larger like pills that you have to line up to destroy stuff, and it's both easier and more challenging at the same time because while you can get bigger combos with the L pills, it also because they're bigger, it also leads to the screen getting cluttered, and you can easily die a lot quicker if you're not quick enough. Yeah, Dr. Mario's like been a staple for years, though. It's been on pretty much every Nintendo handheld, a lot of Nintendo consoles. It's a fun mind
Yeah, no.
time
Well,
killer.
I feel like that's like the best part about most puzzle games is you don't need to commit a lot of time to. You can just kind of pick up, play, and then drop when you need to move on to something else. And that's why people love them.
Hmm. Yeah. What's another puzzle game that you enjoy, Alex?
Well, I always loved 2048. I still have it on my phone to this day. I wasn't very good at it. I won't lie. It's not like I've gotten that super large numbers, but the whole thing is uh basically how many 5 by 5, no, 4 by 4 cube square, and you had a bunch of tiles in it. And in the tiles, each time you kind of started out with like twos, fours, and maybe like an eight. Every time you would tile next to one, it would add it to that tile. But you could only add the same one. So
Matching
if it was a
pairs,
two,
yeah.
it was a two, you could add and create a four. And then from there, if you could move that and add it to a four, which would create an eight. And basically, your goal is you want to eventually get to, well, at some point, 2048, but you can go even larger than that. And basically, you want to create the largest number and get the highest score. But as you're doing it, you're creating more cubes on the screen, and you might run out of space, and then eventually you can't have anything to match anymore. So you have to strategically move it around while also trying to get the largest number, while also trying to get multiple with the largest number, because again, once you get to 2048, well, you need another 2048 to then create a much bigger number. So
Yeah.
it can be very challenging, but it was a good one for like, especially for me, like I would always play it like on flights because I hate flying. I used to be fine when I was younger, but when I started flying alone for work, I don't know why it just gave me like a lot of anxiety and I just don't like it. I don't like flying as much anymore. I don't really like it. So for me, like having something like that where I can like get in the zone and distract myself was very helpful. And I still play it to this day. It's always on my phone, but
I always remember just like hours of you just playing that nonstop, just on your tablet. I'd always be like, "Damn,
well,
she's
it's
gone."
one of those for me like a good puzzle game is like a a game where I can just kind of turn my brain off and like disassociate. I know it sounds kind of weird, but like it really does like help me like relax. Like I kind of just need to almost just like decompress after a long day and just kind of do something that's not mind numbing, but just like relaxing and thought and get my brain out of like work mode into just relaxation mode.
Mm.
So I like 2048. It's a good game. You should download it. Ow, my foot's stuck.
Um, so you were mentioning stressful puzzle games you don't like. If we're gonna talk about those real quick, we have to mention Puyo Puyo because Puyo Puyo is by far one of the most nerve-wracking, stressful puzzle games
Oh,
I've ever played.
yep.
Um, so Puyo Puyo is a weird series. It Most of them didn't come out over here. Like it was a series that was Japan only for like years.
I'm
We get
looking at many little anime girls, so
so the version of Puyo Puyo that most Americans remember because it was completely a reskin is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is just Puyo Puyo reskinned to the Sonic the Hedgehog, like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog TV series
yep.
look. Puyo Puyo is fucking intense. Like it is basically you have like these little like double beans that you have to drop down and you want to match like the colors and like things of four. But the key to Puyo Puyo is you want to like strategically place chains
Hmm.
because like chaining is where because every match of Puyo you don't play Puyo Puyo single player. It's always double like multiplayer. You're usually playing against a computer,
Yeah.
and the whole gimmick is like you want to do chains because if you do chains, it sends avalanches off to the other player's screen and drops these like indestructible blocks that you can only destroy by doing chains. So like
Mhm.
basically your goal is you want to max out chains so you basically suffocate your player's screen. And it's like a competition style thing.
See that gives me too much anxiety. That's too
It's
stressful.
Puyo Puyo's fun, but it is a game that is hard as fuck, and I am terrible at it. Like I've never been able to like
It
get
does not
far.
sound relaxing at all. It sounds
No, this
stressful.
one's not a relaxing one. This is a stimulating one. That it kind of is. It gets your brain. It basically it gets your brain functions going on. Um, it's one of those ones. But we didn't officially get a Puyo Puyo until like Puyo Pop Fever on the GameCube. I want to say.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah. There is a old Puyo Puyo on the Super Nintendo app on the Switch now, though, so you can play one of the older like anime ones.
Hmm,
It's fun. There's like weird storylines that like make no sense because they're all in Japanese.
that's funny.
There was also a crossover with Tetris that's supposedly really good. But yeah,
Interesting.
Puyo Puyo. If you want some stress in your life,
Ponyo, ponyo, fishy in the sea.
so I know another puzzle game that me and you played extensively. This is another phone one. Do you
Most of
remember?
mine are phones.
Yeah. Do you remember Flow, Alex?
Oh yeah, I think I beat Flow. I think I beat all the levels. At least like at the time I had it, I had done all of them, and I basically had nothing left to do.
I beat all the free levels, and then like I didn't buy the extra ones
I might
because
have bought
I
the
was
extra ones.
I did mess around with Flow Bridges, which was a later updated
Oh
version.
yeah, I had the I like the bridge one too. Honestly, Flow is like if I feel like Flow is stimulating too because like it colors are
Well,
nice.
it's a combination of colors and like thinking because the Flow is an interesting one. It's essentially you have a grid and there is a bunch of colored dots, and the
Hmm.
whole goal is you have to connect the two. So there's like a set of like say orange, green, red, blue, yellow, all the colors on one side, and then there's corresponding other points on like different parts of the grid.
Hmm.
What you have to do is you have to link all of them together, but you have to cover every tile
Yes,
at
you
one point
basically
or
have to have
another.
the screen all filled up with color.
Yeah, so you have to like strategically lay them out so that every single one can
And we
connect, but
And
you
it gets
also
hard because the grid
hmm,
is like pretty small at the beginning. Like it's only like maybe like a 6 by 6 grid in the first couple levels. And then it ends up going up to like a like 20 by 20 grid at some points. Like it
hmm.
can get huge. So some of them like and maybe it only has like 7 dots on the screen and you have to or 7 pairs on the screen, which doesn't cover that much. So you really have to be strategic about how you loop all the stuff around.
Flow was one of my favorite. Like I needed to kill time on the fucking school bus before I
Mhm.
got my license.
Yep.
I just fucking mess around with before I got my Vita. I would literally just mess around with Flow on my phone because it didn't kill battery like a lot of puzzle games did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember Flow, such a stimulating game. And then they added the bridges mode, which made it even more intense because then you had like
Oh,
bridges that you could go over
no,
pathways.
yeah. And that made it and that was like I would say very creative of them for doing that because like I mean at some point people were kind of like okay I played the game and they kind of needed to change things up so it definitely made it more strategic and interesting.
Mm, yeah, now Flow is a good one. So another mobile game that we were kind of discussing that technically is a puzzle game, Angry Birds.
Yeah, I mean, like, in all, well, because we were kind of debating it, but when you think about it, you have to be strategic about, okay, they got the pigs in one's in a wooden castle, one's in an ice castle, one's really high up here, one's really low up here. You only have a certain amount of shots to take. I'd say it's a puzzle game. And
Mm,
then you have to strategically choose which birds you want later on because you start out with just the red angry bird, but eventually you move on, you get like the bomb one. You get like the little yellow guy who's like speedy, and they have like a whole bunch of other different ones, like the little ones that have multiple and they like work like little bombs. So you had to be creative, and it made some terrible movies.
ugh. Yeah, it became a fucking franchise.
No,
Um,
Angry Birds, like, and that is kind of crazy how that like took off and
you
became like.
know, did you know Sega owns the company that makes Angry Birds now?
No, I didn't know that.
They bought it them a couple of years ago, but I've discovered that recently. I was like, wow, Sega. Sega owns a
Oh,
lot of shit.
there's a lot of Angry Birds games too. Like Jesus.
Oh yeah, they milked the fuck out of that franchise, and I don't blame them because it was an addicting game.
Oh yeah, it was like really fun. And it is a puzzle game because you have to be creative with how you end up going through it. So yeah, it's a puzzle game. We're calling it that.
So let's change things up a bit. We've been
No,
talking about traditional puzzle games like drop down, match threes, like
yes,
brain stimulators. Let's talk about a puzzle game that makes you feel like an idiot.
yeah,
So one of the most in-depth, crazy puzzle game series of all time is Professor Layton.
yes,
Professor Layton, to explain it best, is it is a series of adventure games slash visual novel slash puzzle games where slash mystery games where you play the role as the titular Professor Layton and his associate Luke, and you go through like all these wacky adventures with some of the most insane storylines in gaming
yeah,
history. But the whole gimmick is like you'll be investigating a thing like uptown, and like you'll talk to somebody, and they'll be like, "Hey." let's solve a puzzle and I'll help you out with my what you're trying to discover. And then you get this puzzle. The
And you're like,
puzzles in Professor Layton make me feel like an idiot.
oh yeah,
Like,
they're definitely, and they're those ones too where at the end you'll be like, damn it, like you'll be like, that makes so much sense.
so I guess from what I read, like, I actually Thrak was telling me this in on 3DO at one point.
Rick.
Um, I guess like the first 6 games, they actually had a puzzle master who like came up with all the puzzles.
Yeah.
I believe he passed away, and for the one starring Layton's daughter, they had a different guy do the puzzles, and that's one of the reasons why the puzzles in that game weren't as well received. But apparently, the new one that they're coming out with has like a team that's actually like like puzzle masters making the puzzles this time
Oh, it's
around.
awesome. Well,
It's
I'm
kind of,
excited for another Professor Layton.
yeah. There's one coming out for Switch that looks really interesting.
Oh,
I'm not sure story wise where it's going to go because so like the Layton series, there's the original trilogy on DS, Curious Village, Diabolical Box, Unwound Future. Then
yep,
there's the prequel trilogy, which is like the Lost Spectre, Miracle Mask, and the Azrian Legacy.
yep,
Then there's the one with his daughter. That's kind of like a spin-off that takes place way in the future.
yep.
And then there's the Ace Attorney crossover, which is its own kind of thing that happens sort of somewhere. Um, these games though, like the creativity of the puzzles to me is like because they're so like very varied. Like there is like a ton of different like options, and they all make me feel so stupid.
No, I remember like playing it, and I would also play this on plane, on the plane, on flights and stuff, and I would like see the person next to me like looking at me as I'm getting visibly angry of like, why can't I figure this out? I'm smart, I swear. Oh, it's such a good series, and
They
it's like so when a game is pretty and the art is just so nice to look at, you know, when something's visually pleasing, you're so much more likely to pick it up and play
well,
it.
we'll have to do a full Professor Layton episode at some point. Probably bring on a guest.
I would
Um,
like to once the new game comes out. I think it would be fun to do. We can play it and then talk about the series and then talk about the new game as well.
I gotta finish my replay of the series. Like I started replaying them. I got through Curious Village, no problem, and then I started Diabolical Box, and then I got
Mhm.
confused. I didn't get confused. I got distracted by something else. So I gotta really jump back into that because you only have the first 3, right?
Yeah, I just have the DS ones.
Okay. Unfortunately, Ezreal Legacy is a very expensive game these days.
Yeah,
Sad.
I feel like
Sad.
if anything, I'll have to find it. What's it called? What are they called? Where you play it on the computer instead of
Oh,
the actual game.
emulation.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
emulation at this point.
Or maybe they'll be nice and do a fucking collection at some point. That would be
That
cool.
would be nice if they would put one on the Switch. Like I feel like people love the Phoenix Wright one, so do
Well,
one for Professor Layton.
well, especially because the Ace Attorney games are getting collections for every game now,
Yeah. Oh,
including the
I'll need to buy
long,
those.
including the long unreleased Investigations 2, which is finally coming out over here. But yeah, Professor Layton though, puzzle game perfection, wacky stories. I love the art style, like the full anime cutscenes on the DS of all things, which was amazing. The fucking I'm not going to spoil it here because this is a game I want people to play, but the fucking twist endings to some of these games are like holy fuck, like what the
You're like,
fuck.
what? Well, I mean, they have actual story to them, which pulls you
They
along through the puzzles more.
Yeah, that's why when you get stuck on a puzzle, you get so fucking frustrated. You're like, I want to know what happens next. Uh, so were there any other mobile games before we get into the big one?
Uh, yes, Bill. The one that haunted your ads all the time.
Oh, fucking Best Fiends
Best
or whatever.
Fiends! I think
I
everyone
only
has heard of
remember
Best
this.
Fiends ad.
I remember the fucking ads like for a while, like during COVID, especially like fucking 4 times a day. I'd hear that shit and I'd be like, I never want to play this game.
I feel like there was a period of time where all YouTubers, all podcasters were sponsored by Best Fiends, and all you heard was Best Fiends, buy Best Fiends.
Oh, I remember the choir commercials. They're like, play Best Fiends. Like, and I'd be like, no,
I
stop.
don't. I don't remember that. I just remember
That
like every podcaster being like, "Oh yeah, you play and you battle the slugs and blah blah
see
blah blah."
that those ads they played on the radio, like real radio,
Oh,
and I'd hear that shit daily because they played it at when I was working at my old job. Like that would be on the radio, and you just hear that 4 times a day.
but I gotta say, I had it and I played it, and it's actually a pretty fun game. I mean, because it's like taking a puzzle game, but also a combat factor to it. So the more that and it's basically like kind of Bejeweled, but uh, I think you need like longer rows, or like it's like has to be like four in a row to get a match. Because I'm looking at the screen now and I'm seeing like three. But you have like different fruits, flowers, water droplets, random nature. It's basically like kind of Bejeweled, but it separates the board. There's different aspects to it, but your whole goal in the end is that like each like four or five that you match, it's like attack points. So you're basically attacking the fiend, yeah, or the slugs. You're the fiend. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was fun. I didn't get super far. I actually got pretty. I don't remember how far I got into it before I just like stopped playing it. Um. Oh, the worst part about it though was like you had to be online, so I never could play it on the plane. Or like it kept asking me to like join the internet, so I wouldn't play it.
Because they
It
want to
was
spam you with ads,
yeah.
basically.
So I wouldn't play it on the planes because it was just really annoying. But yeah, best feeds. I think we've all heard the ad. It's pretty fun. Like it's a pretty. I think it's like the fun combo of like you're doing a puzzle game, but you're also like kind of doing a combat game as well. So it was hard. Like there were a lot of times where I had to replay levels like multiple times just to get it right because like the board kept filling because in the end like you had to end up having enough attack points if you didn't have enough like I think there was a stamina component as well, or you could only or you had to get a certain number of like certain objects on the screen. But it
Mm.
was pretty like I remember it was pretty hard sometimes. Like I would beat the slug, but I wouldn't get the number it wanted, so I'd lose the level or the opposite.
Speaking of, before we get on to the final one, do you remember if the Facebook puzzle games?
Maybe.
So I never played any of these, but I just remember vividly, like it was like they're always like food related. Um, and I always remember because I just get fucking spammed with people being like, "Help me get more points for my puzzle game," and I'm like,
Oh,
"No."
I would. So, it was actually funny. Mom would always get them from one of our family members. It was always Candy Crush.
Oh
She would always
yeah.
get the candy, like help me, like send it. That was like the worst one. Like I would never do that. Like I would play puzzle games and be like, share it to your Facebook page in order to get extra life points or something. And I'd be like, no, I don't want people to know I'm playing this
I don't
game.
want people to know the degenerate shit I play.
Yeah,
I'm
hey,
playing sexy. I'm playing
nothing
sexy
was
mahjong over here. Do you want to
no,
share to
no.
Facebook?
I remember like this isn't a puzzle game. It was a farming game. I played many farming games. It was on my phone. It was Zombie Farm. It was you farmed you farm zombies, and then after you got enough zombies, you'd actually go and fight the farmer, like your enemy farmer. And if you had enough zombies, you could be.
I just always
Can we do
remember.
another episode of like the bizarre apps we had on our phones?
Maybe at some point in the
I
future.
think that would be very worth.
I will say though, like I just remember there was a good point in time when Facebook was like the dominant like social media platform that not just the boomer farm it is nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, where like I would log into Facebook and my notification would be like, help this person play Candy Crush, help this person play Cookie Jam, and I'd be like, can't Cookie Farm or whatever. I'd be like, no, block,
Farmville.
block,
Farmville.
block, block, block. Like I just blocked so many people for that shit because I had no time for that. I was like, no,
Yep.
I don't even like Facebook that much. So, but yeah.
Mm.
So we saved the big one for last. I mean, there's obviously more puzzle games, but these are just some of the ones that are somewhat significant to us.
Yes.
So we have to talk about Tetris.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, everyone knows the song, which is hilarious because that song is only in a couple versions, particularly the Game Boy
Oh, that's
uh,
funny.
version.
It's classic.
Tetris is such an iconic game because it's actually a computerized version of a Russian game called Tetrominoes, I believe it's called.
Mhm.
Which is like a little like board game where you have like all these different shapes and you have to like line them up to make like to fill in like different puzzles. Um, because if you actually look at the official Tetrominoes like playing pieces, there's actually a bunch of them that were cut from Tetris because it would have made the game too complicated.
Mhm.
Which is hilarious because there actually is a Tetrominoes version of Tetris that someone made on the Switch, which is like annoying to play because the pieces are all fucking obnoxious. But Tetris is such an interesting game because it's literally a bunch of falling blocks and you have to basically line up lines to get Tetrises. And you get points and it just goes on basically.
Mhm.
It's a very addicting game. Like it is one of those games that just stimulates all the brain in all the right ways.
Bill
Te-
plays it consistently
I've
on
I have
his iPad. Not iPad, on his Switch.
well I play Tetris 99 on the Switch.
Yes.
Um I have like 100 versions of Tetris because there's so many.
Yeah,
Um
that is one. There are so many different versions. And wasn't there a movie that came out not that long ago?
I don't
It
know.
was like a documentary
Well,
movie.
that's what I want to get into because the story of Tetris, excuse me, the story of Tetris is insane.
Mhm.
Like, I'll tell everyone like, if you want to learn about the history of Tetris, go watch the gaming historian's video on it. Like, it
Mhm.
is an hour. It's like almost an hour long documentary just explaining like like how insane getting Tetris to America was.
Mhm.
Because for those who don't know, Tetris was created in the Soviet Union during the Cold War by a Russian computer programmer who made it on his off time. But because he made it using like the company he worked for's equipment, it was technically owned by the state because communism. And basically, it somehow leaked out, and it was discovered by all these different game studios outside of the Soviet Union at the time.
Mhm.
And it ended up becoming this massive war between these companies for the rights to Tetris. And like, because not only was it the rights to Tetris, but it was like there was the the console rights, the computer rights, the handheld rights, like because it was all a big jumbled mess.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because like all these companies are fighting. Meanwhile, Nintendo ends up getting like quote unquote falsified rights that they thought were real, but then it turns out they were actually like this guy that illegally was selling the rights to the thing that he didn't have the rights to. um so then the Soviet Union discovers this and they're like, this is ours, you're stealing it. And Nintendo's like, well, let's go talk about this. And they send the guy who actually made the version of Tetris for the Famicom to the Soviet Union. And he meets the actual creator and actually befriends the creator of Tetris, and then he actually gets into a meeting with like the Soviets, and he was like, he basically arranged a deal for them, and he basically explained all this stuff, and they were like, "You guys are like the first people that actually gave us a good deal and actually like didn't try to screw us." So they ended up, and because the creator of Tetris really liked the guy Nintendo had sent over, they gave him the full console rights, but also the handheld rights, and that's how
Wow.
Nintendo famously got Tetris on the Game Boy.
Huh.
But to 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 end this that story, the guy that made that game, I forget the names like off the top of my head right now. But he owned a company called Bulletproof Software. I think it's now called Blue Planet Software.
Mhm.
He actually ended up founding the Tetris company, and he actually brought the creator of Tetris like over. He lives in America now,
Oh,
and
wow.
they actually got the rights to it so he could finally make money off his creation because he made nothing off of it for
Oh
years
my
because
god, that's so sad.
well it was a Russian owned thing
Yeah.
because communism at the time.
Yeah.
um he didn't make any money off of it. Basically like all the money went to the state essentially, but he
Yeah.
eventually, once the rights lapsed, they ended up buying the rights to Tetris, and the Tetris company officially owns them now, and he gets his royalties finally for the game.
Wow. Good for
it's
him.
it's a much more complicated story than that. Like the Maxwell family is involved, like
Mhm.
Jeslin's family. Yeah, they're somehow tied to it. It is fucking mental, like the amount of people that were involved in this story. like to get Tetris over here.
Wow.
I highly recommend the Gaming Historians video because it is crazy. But
Put a link.
Tetris,
Put a link in the podcast notes.
you can easily find it on YouTube. Um, but yeah, freaking Tetris is such a fun game, and it's spawned so many different versions and spin-offs over the years. Like one of my favorites is Tetris Effect, which is essentially it's a version of Tetris that is like a pure visual and like audio experience where like the gimmick is like you play it in the dark with like headphones on. And like every time you turn the block, it causes sound effects. And as you get like Tetris's, like the music in the backgrounds all like change and adjust to it. It is a completely, not only is it a brain stimulating game, but it also is a visual and audio stimulating game as well. I give it a play through every year just to experience it. Yeah, there was a ton of different Tetrises. But yeah. Any other puzzle games before you fall asleep?
No, I'm tired. I tired. I revert into a toddler once 8 o'clock hits. That's where I become
party girl right here.
I just become tired. Oh my god, no, I can't stay up late anymore. I'm just tired. No, I mean those are like the big ones. The really big ones. I mean we could bring up Candy Crush, but I didn't really play Candy Crush that much. I just got annoying Facebook ads on it. But I mean there's so many out there on your phone now, and there's so many duplicates and clones of ones as well.
Oh yeah.
Weird knockoff ones. So I mean, but hey, people love their puzzle games. You know, they're just some people like them for the competitive anxiety driven aspects, and some people like to relax. I am the later. I prefer to relax when I play my puzzle games, but you know, you do you.
Nice.
Boo. Moo.
But yeah,
Poo,
so
woo. Thanks so much for watching the gaming listening to the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast is available on all your favorite platforms, particularly. What is that? What is that? Do we have outro music now?
No, I'm just messing with you now.
No, you should. You do the outro with the music. Try it. Try it out.
No.
Put the music on. Put the freaking music on.
Shut up, Jerry. Distracting right now. Anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the SuperPod network of podcasts, an awesome website where you can find all sorts of podcast videos featuring a ton of different podcast creators, including including Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, Remember 64, Bar Silence, Fine Time, Friday Night Gamecast, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, Remember 64. I said a novel console, I believe already. Gaming Together, all the GNC shows, the Elder Trolls podcast, a whole bunch of different shows. I forgot anyone. I'm sorry, but definitely go check us out over at superpodnetwork.com. And you can find us all the social media. And you can find us on all of the social media sites.
No, you can't. We're not there. I'm going to delete all the social medias out of spite.
Uh-huh. Anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all.
Take that shit off right now. Thank you.
We'll see you all later.
No, you won't. You won't see me, because I'm fast like Sonic. Does Sonic the restaurant sell chili dogs?